All right, we're ready to address our sentencing docket, but we have an extra case, and Ms. Harden has agreed to join us. This is an unscheduled matter and two cases involving Tara Lynn Lentz. That's you?
Two cases.
Two cases.
I didn't know I had.
Well, you didn't know about the other case. The first case is 251954. You're charged in that case with larceny less than $200, or over $200, but less than $1,000. Attorney Jordan Harden was appointed to represent you in that case, and you had a pretrial last Friday, which was January 2nd. Ms. Harden had a number of cases that day, and you didn't show up. I believe I even called you on the phone, left a message. At any rate, you didn't come, so I issued a bench warrant for your arrest and gave you 48 hours to turn yourself in. You also have a new charge of littering objects in path of a vehicle, 251676 SM. It's alleged that you did that on July 29th of 2025.
Yes.
You were supposed to do some community service and do some other things,
I never got
and they would dismiss the charges. Well, they didn't.
Got anything in the mail or anything I've been watching for and checking on it. That's how I found out that I had this other thing with David.
With David.
The larceny thing.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot behind that nobody knows about, and I think he's still out there doing stuff to me.
Well, you didn't show up in December. We had it set for December 5th. You didn't show up. We reset it for January 2nd, and you didn't show up.
I did.
But you're here now.
I didn't get any of those, Your Honor, I swear.
Your Honor, I have to interject. She called my office on December 2nd, spoke to my staff, and we told her the date and confirmed she received the packet. And then she came to the courthouse the following Monday in December and was, I think, handed the notice for the 2nd. So I would contest that my office didn't notify her because we send everything and we talked to her that week in December.
December 1st, my wallet was stolen.
All right, stop. What's going on with you today? You're quite distraught. I'm having trouble hearing what you're saying. Are you on medication right now?
Yes, I am.
Are you taking it as prescribed?
Yes, I am. I have a lot of really crazy stuff that doesn't make sense going on.
Well, I'm going to reset these. You're here within 48 hours. Ms. Harden, I'm going to give you the littering case also.
The littering thing. I was guilty for putting stuff in Piper's dumpster. I admitted to that. But
all right, well, slow down. I'm not sure you're even competent to proceed today. The clerk had a very hard time understanding you. I'm having a difficult time understanding you. You're on medication. I don't know whether you're taking as prescribed or not, but I'm not going to put you in jail. I'm going to reschedule this hearing. And if you don't show up, I am going to put you in jail. Jordan, are you here on February the 6th for first of the month pre-trials?
Not as of yet, but I'm assuming I will be.
But you don't have a vacation or anything for that month?
No.
All right, I'm going to continue this. Both cases to February 6, 2026 at 8:30. As it was, we had 7 no-shows and a number of cases that got adjourned. We didn't finish till 12:40. If everybody had shown up, we'd probably gone till 2 o'clock. But I'm gonna send you out to the counter and the clerk's gonna give you notice. I want you to call your lawyer and discuss these matters with her.
Okay,
Are you still at lot 33?
I'm trying to be.
What do you mean you're trying to be?
This is a lot going on and it's make my sense. I'm scared.
All right, well, does your phone number still end in 0882?
My phone is off. I don't have one right now. It's missing.
All right, now, there was an eviction case going on at that trailer. Are you still living at lot 33?
Kind of, yes, no,
So do you have another address?
no. Sometimes I stay in my car, sometimes I stay in my grandma's,
You're living in your car?
sometimes, because it's the safest place. If I don't stay in it, sometimes people steal it.
All right, well, I have some concerns here, but I'm gonna, no bench warrant.
Your Honor, on the
Uh,
littering case, did I hear right that she's already pled on that and there was some kind of deferral agreement?
Well, it wasn't exactly clear. It was like not charge it. Illegal dumping of tires and furniture at a business. There was a plea letter and she didn't confirm the terms of the plea letter.
Never got it.
You did. You're not tracking very well. You missed 2 court dates in a row. You got notice of them. You talked to your lawyer. You're very disoriented. I can't tell if it's just today or you're this disoriented all the time. But as I said, I'm not sure you're even capable of proceeding here today. But I'm gonna adjourn this to February 6th at 8:30, right here in this room for a pretrial with your lawyer, Ms. Harden. I want you to call her and make an appointment to discuss this with her. If you don't show up on February 6th, I will do a bench warrant and put you in jail.
I'll be here.
All right.
Can she get a copy of the notice at the counter today, Your Honor?
Yes, I'm gonna send her right out there right now, so she'll have a copy handed to her. Also, make sure your number is on it.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Lentz, there is no bench warrant for your arrest. I've recalled it. I've given you a new date to appear, which is February the 6th, the first Friday in February at 8:30. That's what the law says I'm supposed to do when you present yourself within 48 hours, which you accidentally did. But these are not the world's most serious cases. We need to get these resolved. You go with a court officer and the clerk's going to give you a notice, then you can come back in. Would you see where Mr. Gibson is, if he's out there someplace?
Yes, sir.
Autumn, I need you too on Valancourt. There she is.
I apologize. I've been on the phone for 20 minutes with probation.
Okay, that's fine. We haven't started.
Okay.
Also, we have an interpreter case at 11. And so I really would like to start Valancourt to finish that before we have an interpreter, but we need Mr. Gibson. Good morning. Are you Ms. Shockley?
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Do you want me to go get him?
Yes, well, he has several sentences this morning. But he's jamming us up. Yeah, I'd rather do this and then he can talk to his client while we're doing Jordan's case. Mr. Valencourt, why don't you come on up and have a seat? Paul, I'd like to get at this one. Then we'll do Jordan's case with an interpreter. And then if you need to talk to your clients, you can do that. But I'd like to start the Valencourt case. He's here, right here.
With this, I don't think this, which case is this?
This is Everett Valencourt.
Okay, I guess I didn't have this written down in my schedule.
Well, that's not very encouraging. This is a serious case with a high likelihood of a jail sentence. There's a pre-sentence summary prepared by Ms. Kiefer. And let me make sure you're still consular record here. Well, we're obviously not going to be able to proceed at this point. Laura's not here.
Yeah, I have provided Mr. Gibson with a copy of the sentencing guidelines as well as the summary and recommendation.
All right, why don't you go talk to Mr. Valencourt also?
Okay, yes.
Good morning, sir. You haven't been here in a while. You're just here for moral support this morning. Thanks for being here. Everybody needs a little moral support. All right, Jordan. We'll see. Is Mr. Jose Vasquez Bonifaz here?
Negative, he is not checked in.
All right, well, he's not exactly late yet, Jordan, but he isn't here.
I will be at my computer. I'll just mute and go off screen.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jordan had daycare issues this morning. You saw the email chain. I approved her to appear by Zoom, and I appreciate the fact that we were able to take care of Ms. Lentz. The notice of sentencing went to Mr. Gibson's office on December 16th. I was looking for my notes. I believe the matter was set from the courtroom because he was going to be here that day anyway. Well, it was originally set for December 15th. And
The defendant was sick.
the defendant was sick, so maybe that's why he didn't got his notice mixed up. Yes. All right, we're burning daylight, but sometimes that's how it goes. I've been a lot of this sit and wait this morning. I work on my column for 2026. I went over to the mailroom and picked up my W-2 form. She had a little window where she was handing them out. She said if enough people showed up to pick them up, she would save the county $10 in mailing costs.
Sir, Jose showed up.
All right, very good. Now we need Vivian. Jordan, do you need to speak to your client?
If you'd like to go over the recommendation, I think it was done pretty early, so.
All right, well, Vivian's not here. Could somebody open the Zoom room for me? Can you do it, Michelle? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Laura's not here today.
Yeah, if he's got somebody that can help me talk to him, otherwise I can't communicate with him if it's just him.
Mr. Vasquez Bonifaz, can you interpret for him?
I can.
All right, why don't you guys go into the conference room right outside the door?
Thank you.
And
Sir. Oh.
he has someone with him who can help for your purposes.
Yes. I assumed it was for the day.
Mr. Gibson, I think we determined what happened. The matter was set for December 15th. The defendant was ill. And so we reset it for January 5th. We sent you a notice on December 16th for today's date. Mr. Valancourt got it also. Let me open the breakout room.
I do not see Vivian yet. The judge asked me to translate, but I don't know. Okay.
Click the button that says join, and you can talk privately with your lawyer. All right, are you ready on Mr. Valancourt?
Yes.
All right, let's proceed with that case. This is file number 251853, SD People versus Everett Valancourt. Defendant was charged with operating while intoxicated, second or subsequent offense. The matter was reduced to first offense, and the defendant entered a plea. It was set for sentencing in December. It was adjourned to today's date, and he's here with his lawyer, Mr. Paul Gibson. Mr. Gibson's had an opportunity to review the summary report prepared by Probation Officer Autumn Kiefer. Also present is Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Angelique Canfield. Mr. Gibson, we'll start with you. What would you like me to know?
The report indicates that the defendant has successfully completed probation terms. I believe it was 4 different times, it appears. And so the defendant has always taken this matter very seriously, and I think that the report is right, that he is somebody that can follow direction. And if the court was to follow the recommendation of the probation department, I believe the defendant could complete what's expected of him on probation. And so I would ask the court to follow the recommendation of the probation department. I believe it's fair, and I would ask the court to give the defendant an opportunity to work off or avoid having to serve any additional jail time if he can live up to his end of the bargain on probation. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Canfield, what's your position here?
Well, Your Honor, I have an entirely different position from the recommendation, and I'll state the reasons for it. Although the defendant has completed probation successfully previously, he apparently hasn't learned anything from those probations. He has 6 domestic violence convictions, including a domestic violence second conviction in 2023. A prior
That
impaired
was
driving,
reduced from a felony.
correct, and impaired driving in 2021, an attempted resisting and obstructing as far back as 2010, and a retail fraud. On this particular day, he admitted to using CBD and Delta 10 in the morning at about 11 a.m. and then proceeding to drive his car after also taking a shot at the Broadway North at 12:20 p.m., driving to Indiana, coming back and taking another 2 shots at 1:40 p.m. So that's 3 shots of liquor in about an hour and a half period of time, and continuing to still drive his vehicle. He was stopped at 88 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone, obviously creating a risk to himself and any of the other drivers on the road at that time.
I could not take it over the phone.
So at this point in time,
Mr. Valancourt, just a minute. We'll give you an opportunity to state your position.
his blood draw did come back relatively low for that number of shots at a 0.11.
No, it didn't. 3 shots didn't get him to 0.11. He had more than the 3 little shots that he indicated. 3 shots wouldn't get him to a 0.11 in that amount
I
of time.
promise. I
Correct,
had
Your Honor.
nothing more to drink and nothing to eat that morning. As soon as
All
I
right, well,
woke,
I'll give you a chance to speak.
He had a PBT of 0.121 at the scene. And just given the history of his record and the number of times that he's been on probation, and he still isn't learning the lesson to stay off the road when he's using substances, I think he needs a significant jail term, and I would recommend that that be the appropriate sanction, at least 60 days with no probation at this point. I mean, we've been through that road with him multiple times previously. I believe it's a waste of resources to utilize probation for him at this point.
All right. You've heard the prosecutor's position. Mr. Valancourt, what would you like to tell me?
on the day and the matter was Miss Tara was sick and she asked me to drive. I was trying to comply with what was going on so far as her needs, and I honestly had only the 3. I had woke from there and did some CBD and Delta 10.
Well, you also, at one time you had a medical marijuana card and there was a pipe. You don't smoke CBD and Delta 10. You had a glass marijuana pipe in the car with you.
Yes.
And so you had been a medical marijuana patient. I think that may have lapsed. Vivian, good morning. Jordan is ready. She's consulting with her client right now. and we should be ready to go in just a moment.
Okay, sounds
when we
good. Thanks.
finish this case.
I was on my way home to a telehealth, and I would not have even been speeding had I not been traveling with the flow of traffic. Even then, I was still behind. I was due for a meeting with Miss Amaya Hamilton. I tried to get Miss Tara to hold off and wait, but she was experiencing the type of day that she is having today, and as you can see, that is very difficult to communicate and copacetically feel like your nerves are not on end. And I had taken her breakfast, coffee, and done everything I knew to do, her medicine, and her response as today's behavior, I was trying to stay calm. I was not trying to.
Was she in the car with you?
No, sir.
Oh, I didn't think
She had
so.
maintained at home.
Now, she was in the car with you previously when you rolled it over and almost killed you and herself,
Well,
but she wasn't in the car this time?
no, sir.
All right. Now, there was something about a cat food, or you wanted to feed the cat?
Well, so far, in regards to this matter right here, that was the situation I was trying to get back, not only for feeding the cats and dogs, but also the bunny rabbit, and also getting back for a telehealth meeting with Miss Amaya Hamilton. Hence the speeding.
There's some Kleenexes there if you need.
Where I was merely 5 minutes away or 7 minutes away from home. Hence why I stopped and did the shots.
Well, first of all, I don't believe you that you had 3 shots. 3 shots.
I promise. That's
All right,
all I
well,
had.
that's your opinion. I don't, the empirical evidence would.
I had nothing on my stomach, and I had
Well,
not
then
eaten.
maybe you had something the night before, but, and I also believe you had smoked some marijuana because you smoked every day.
I do, but I promise I just had the bowl with me because I did not want to lose it. And I did not even think to tell the officer I have my phone right here that I was on the way to do a telehealth.
All right. I had sent an email to Ms. Kiefer and said I had some concerns about the recommendation. The recommendation here is identical to the recommendation last time. And he didn't deserve it then, and I did grant it, and he doesn't deserve it now. The previous case, the impaired from 2021, was a rollover traffic crash where people were almost killed, including you and Tara Lentz. Marijuana was in the background there. And I followed the recommendation back then in 2020. You were put on a probation, which you did successfully complete. But as Ms. Camfield says, at some point, you don't seem to get it. The fact that you've completed 4 previous probations isn't exactly a badge of honor. Shows you can do probation, but at some point, you don't deserve it anymore. Now, there was the other case, the one from a few years ago, where you were charged with unlawful entry and malicious destruction of property.
That was not me. I did not have anything to do with the
That
wall
was
being
you. That was
broken, I
you.
promise.
You pled to disturbing the peace. Your blood alcohol at booking was 0.24. Then you had the incident last year where you killed her cat.
No, I really did not.
By giving it a bath, and you did a probation in that case and completed it.
I did not kill that cat. It was her daughter.
Well, you told me you did. You told me at the time of
No,
sentence that
I
you gave
bathed the cat and
it died.
Yes, but
All right,
it was
well, that's
alive
not
when
the
I
issue.
placed
The
it.
issue here is you greatly underreport the amount of alcohol that you drink, including this day. There's a great big alcohol issue here. Plus you got 6 domestic assault convictions, mostly on Tara Lentz. And this is 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. You're going 88 miles an hour blasting up 131 because you wanted to feed your cat. There's marijuana evidence in the car, probably also in your bloodstream. You have a previous OUI. All the recommendation there was 7 days jail credit, 1 day, 12-month probation. That's the exact same recommendation in this case. And as I said, you didn't deserve it then, and you don't deserve it now. It's worse. The guidelines come out at 3 to 5 days as our guidelines, as weak as that is. Previous time they came out at 7 days. It was a rollover accident. Prosecutors asking for 60 days. Ms. Kiefer, what's your thought here?
Well, I can tell you, I had no idea that it was the same from 3 years ago. We didn't look at it, but I'll defer to the court. I mean, I understand, I agree, he's not eligible for sobriety court. I don't believe he would be able to complete that. He's already admitted that supposedly the vehicle's gone. He's already lost his license. Mr. Valancourt has been involved with Pivotal for many years. We are fully aware of his mental capabilities. If he doesn't do probation, I would agree with the prosecutor for the 60 days.
All right, we are bound by the Auburn Hills case of proportionality in district court sentences, whatever that means. We do have a set of guidelines that was implemented by Judge Welty more than 20 years ago. We followed them for many years, and we don't exactly adhere to them. They're recommended, but they have a series of plausible and appropriate reasons for where the guideline range falls. But you don't deserve another probation. And I don't believe that you only had 3 shots of butterscotch liquor, and I don't believe that you drink only sometimes.
No, I do not consume any, only when she lets me, and I only did it that day because I was nerved and stressed and trying to beat the clock back to my meeting with Mr. Hamilton at 2. At the time I was pulled over, I was supposed to be in a meeting.
Well, that was on you.
I know I tried to convince Miss Tara to wait, but I couldn't talk her out of it. She needed me to take care of things.
All right. I'm not going to do a probation. I'm going to do 10 days jail, credit 1, leaving 9 days to serve. I don't want you to go to jail long enough that you lose your disability benefits. If I gave you 60 days in jail, you'd lose your SSD. And I don't want that. But you've earned 10.
Your Honor, sir, may I make a request to the courts, please?
Yes.
May I turn myself in instead of being arrested right away? I need to take care of some things in regards to the matter in which you spoke to Ms. Lentz about earlier. The house or the trailer, she said that told him the management company that we would have the money on the 29th. They went to draw it out on the 30th, and there was only 26 cents left in the account. And then their electricity has been cut off to the trailer after I watched Miss Tara make a deposit of $170 from her chime card to MEC. And that was supposed to supply 17 days of electricity. And they have allowed $95 worth of electricity to be used in the additional time since having made the 170 deposit. Her chime, her Dave, and their SoFi cards have all been tampered, hacked, and they were stolen, along with my Omni card and her driver's license that were in her billfold. And I would like to take, I have had to withdraw $464 or $63 from the amount that was supposed to be saved for the lot rip. Since it was not able to be paid this month, I was wanting to know if you could contact the management company and ask if they could possibly take this month and hold it off on the additional and not ask that we be ejected from the trailer, and to try to put some money on the MEC account over there in Cassopolis and turn myself in after I take care of a couple other things. And the water lines have been broken underneath the trailer and are needing repair. So I
Yeah,
have the
that
water
trailer's
shut off.
in very poor shape and you're not really living there. And you shouldn't be. You should just let that tenancy go and find another one. But the answer is no. You can go with a court officer. You owe $300 fine, $125 in court costs, $100 screening fee, $150 attorney fee, and a $200 police reimbursement. That adds up to $875. When you get out of jail, I want you to stop up here and make a payment plan. Miss Lynch, do you have a ride home?
Is she even here?
She's here.
Uh,
All right, you can go with a court officer.
is she in the courtroom?
Yes, she's in the back.
Okay.
What was your charge, sir, and how many days?
Operating while intoxicated, first offense, 10 days jail, credit 1, leaving 9 days to serve. I also failed to appear a couple times, but I don't think there was a bench warrant. All right, Ms. Harden, we're ready to address your case. Ms. Montero, thank you for your patience. We got a little behind in our first case.
Judge, let me know when you're ready. Mark.
All right, is your guy here, Ross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, there he is, right in the front row. All right, we're going to use the service of our interpreter. And we're going to address People versus Jose Vasquez Bonifaz.
Este es el caso del Ministerio Público versus José Vázquez Bonifaz.
Buenos días. Es usted Jose Manuel Vasquez Bonifaz? You met our interpreter, Ms. Montero, the last time we were here, and she's going to assist us again today.
Usted conoció a nuestra intérprete, la señora Montero, la última vez que usted estuvo acá. Ella nos va a ayudar nuevamente el día de hoy.
Okay.
I'm going to take a moment and swear her in.
Voy a tomar un momento a pedir que ella preste juramento.
Do you swear or affirm to the best of your ability you will interpret these matters from Spanish into English and English into Spanish?
I do.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Vivian Montero, Court Interpreter 18369.
This was a charge of operating with a high blood alcohol level, which was reduced to a charge of operating while intoxicated, first offense. Matter was set for sentencing this morning. Your attorney, Jordan Harden, had an emergency, and I've approved her to be here by Zoom. And I appreciate her being here because we were able to take care of another matter as well.
Este es el cargo de alto nivel de alcoholemia, lo cual fue reducido en gravedad a conducir en estado de ebriedad primera vez. Su abogada tuvo una emergencia esta mañana, así que yo le autoricé poder comparecer por Zoom, licenciada Jordan Harden.
Ms. Harden, what would you like me to know here?
Licenciada Harden, ¿qué quiere que yo sepa aquí?
Thank you, Your Honor. I did review the pre-sentence report prepared by Mr. Huff.
Gracias, su señoría. Yo revisé el informe precondenatoria preparado por el señor Huff.
I really appreciate how much time and effort Mr. Huff puts into these reports to make sure we all have the full picture.
Agradezco mucho al señor Huff el tiempo y el esfuerzo que él toma en componer estos informes para darnos el cuadro grande.
I would ask the court to take note of my client's request for probation in this matter.
Pido que el tribunal tome nota de la petición de mi cliente para libertad condicional en este caso.
I think based on the blood alcohol level, he is someone who could benefit from some services that probation could provide.
Dado al nivel de alcoholemia, yo creo que es una persona que podría beneficiarse de los servicios que puede brindar libertad condicional.
I would ask the court to defer all remaining jail time, however, which deviates from the recommendation.
Yo estoy pidiendo al tribunal a deferir el tiempo de cárcel que está recomendando en el informe precondenatoria.
I believe that the deferral of those days would be an additional incentive for my client to complete the terms of probation.
Creo que los días deferidos sería un incentivo adicional para mi cliente completar exitosamente el plazo de libertad condicional.
Mr. Huff could not find a criminal history for my client.
El señor Huff no pudo encontrar antecedentes penales anteriores para mi cliente.
This appears to be his first arrest and conviction, so I would ask the court to take that into consideration as well.
Eso parece ser la primera vez que ha sido arrestado y condenado, así que pido que el tribunal tome eso en cuenta también.
My client has credit for 1 day. I would otherwise ask for the court to adopt the recommendation, but for my request for deferral of all additional jail time.
El acusado ha pasado un día encerrado y tiene crédito para ese día. Pido al tribunal que acepte la recomendación a excepción de los días de cárcel y pido que defiere los días de cárcel.
Your Honor.
Su señoría.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Ms. Canfield, what's your thought here?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Señora Canfield, ¿qué piensa usted? Gracias, su señoría.
As listed in Mr. Huff's report, the time of the accident was at approximately 8:08 p.m.
Según el informe del señor Huff, la hora del accidente fue a las 8 de la noche.
The preliminary breath test at this scene was a .21.
I thought it was 171.
Excuse me, 171, that's correct.
El nivel de alcoholemia en el lugar de los hechos era .171.
His breath test at 9:33 was 173.
La prueba de aliento a las 9:33 salió a .173.
And the blood test drawn at 11:10 p.m. indicated a .146.
Y cuando le hicieron el análisis de sangre a las 11:10 de la noche, salió a .146.
This confirms that during and subsequent to the arrest, the defendant's blood alcohol level was reducing.
Eso demuestra que el nivel de alcoholemia subsiguiente al arresto iba bajando.
However, he did admit to drinking a large number of beer throughout the day.
Sin embargo, él había confesado que había consumido alto número de cervezas a lo largo del día.
And then feeling fine to drive.
Y luego se sintió bien para poder manejar.
There was a accident reported where he left the scene.
Se informó de un accidente que ocurrió donde él abandonó el lugar de los hechos.
He was behaving erratically with the police officers.
Se comportaba de manera errática con los oficiales de policía
And did not have a driver's license.
y no tenía licencia de conducir.
Given the accident and the high blood alcohol level,
Dado el accidente y el alto nivel de alcoholemia,
my only modification to the probation recommendation would
mi única
be
modificación a la recomendación de libertad condicional es
that the jail be served up front.
que él pasa los días encerrados y no deferidos según la recomendación.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Es todo, señoría.
Mr.
¿Puedo hablar?
Vasquez Bonifaz, what would you like to tell me?
Señor Vázquez Bonifaz, ¿qué es lo que desea decirme?
Sí, que el mes pasado que vine, ya habíamos aclarado la situación de lo del accidente.
Look at me, not the interpreter.
Él está viendo que usted se fija en su señoría nombre. Yes, last month came, I thought the situation had been cleared up.
Did you tell him what I said?
Yes, go ahead,
Look
Your Honor.
at the court
once
rather than
again.
the TV screen.
Señor Vázquez Bonifaz, dirige su atención, por favor, al juez y no a la pantalla.
Ok. El mes pasado que vine ya habíamos aclarado lo del accidente. Me decían que me había huido, pero resulta que yo nunca me escapé de ese accidente y se supone que el juez ya había tomado nota sobre eso.
Last month, when I came, the situation was supposedly cleared up. I did not flee from the scene of the accident. The situation was explained, and supposedly, Your Honor, you had taken notes regarding this.
I did. You're not charged with fleeing the scene of an accident.
Sí, lo hice. Usted no enfrenta el cargo de abandonar el lugar de los hechos.
But you were in an accident and you were 2 times the legal limit to drive a car.
Pero usted estuvo involucrado en un choque y su nivel de alcoholemia era 2 veces por encima del límite legal.
And you don't have a license to drive in the first place.
Y no tiene una licencia de conducir en primer lugar.
La primera vez que vine hace 2 meses me dijeron que el nivel de alcohol no era tan grave y esta vez me dicen que sí. No entiendo.
2 months ago, when I came for the first time, I was told that my case was not so severe. And now I'm being told it is. I don't understand.
Who told you your case was not severe?
¿Quién le dijo que el caso no era grave?
Aquí me dijeron que el nivel de alcohol no era grave.
Here, they told me that my level of intoxication wasn't severe.
Who is they who told you that?
¿Quiénes son ellos? ¿Quién fue quien se lo dijo?
Hace 2 meses que vine a la corte, la primera vez.
2 months ago when I came to court for the first time.
I told you that?
Yo se lo dije.
El nivel era bajo, no era alto.
That the level of alcohol was low. It wasn't high.
All right. Okay. I think I know where the confusion comes.
Yo creo que sé dónde proviene la confusión.
The complaint originally alleged that you were driving with a high blood alcohol level.
La denuncia alega originalmente que usted estaba conduciendo con alto nivel de alcoholemia.
That is 0.17 or above.
Eso es punto 17 o más.
That charge was dismissed.
Ese cargo fue desestimado
For a plea to plain old operating while intoxicated.
porque usted iba a contestar culpable al cargo de gravedad reducido de conducir en estado de ebriedad primera vez.
The first charge is punishable by up to 180 days in jail.
El cargo original conlleva una máxima penalidad posible hasta 180 días de cárcel.
And you are correct. The more serious charge was dismissed.
Y tiene razón, el cargo más grave fue desestimado.
And you pled to the lower charge of operating while intoxicated.
Y usted contestó culpable al cargo de gravedad reducida, conducir en estado de ebriedad primera vez.
But that is still a serious charge.
Pero aún así sigue siendo un cargo grave.
You don't seem very
No parece ser muy,
the word I want is contrite, but I'm going to say you don't seem very sorry about this.
no parece ser muy arrepentido por lo que hizo.
No sé por qué dice eso.
I don't know why you're saying that.
That's the impression that I'm getting.
Eso es la impresión que usted me está dando.
Claro que sí, estoy arrepentido porque era la primera vez que pasaba, nunca me había pasado antes.
Yes, I am, because that was the first time that ever happened. This has never happened to me before.
That's good.
Está muy bien.
Mr. Huff has recommended a probation here.
El señor Huff ha recomendado un plazo de libertad condicional aquí.
And I've been struggling with the concept of placing people who are not here lawfully on probation.
Y es una lucha para mí decidir si coloco a una persona en un plazo de libertad condicional o no cuando no tiene su situación migratoria regularizada aquí.
Last year, 2025,
El año pasado, en 2025,
we had between 80 and 100 young Mexican men arrested here in St. Joe County for drunk driving.
hubo entre 80 a 100 hombres jóvenes de México que fueron detenidos por conducir en estado de ebriedad.
In a high percentage of those cases, there is an accident.
En un alto porcentaje de aquellos casos hubo un accidente.
I'm going to get all the figures and examine it more carefully now that 2025 is over.
Voy a obtener todos los datos y examinarlo más de cerca, ya que se dio por finalizado el año 2025.
Although your arrest was in 2025,
Aunque la detención ocurrió en 2025,
the sentence doesn't show until 2026.
la imposición de la condena no va a aparecer hasta 2026.
In the great majority of these cases, as in yours,
En la mayoría de los casos, incluyendo al suyo,
the people weren't supposed to be driving in the first place because they don't have a valid license.
las personas no deberían haber estado manejando en primer lugar porque no tienen una licencia de conducir.
And my fear is that putting people who don't have lawful residency status on probation
Mi temor es colocar personas que no están aquí de manera legal en un plazo de libertad condicional
is similar to placing somebody on probation where there's an open warrant for their arrest from another jurisdiction.
Es parecido a colocar una persona en un plazo de libertad condicional cuando tienen una orden de detención en otra jurisdicción para su arresto
Or they're on probation somewhere else.
o están en libertad condicional en alguna otra parte.
I have to continue to consider that difficult decision.
Tengo que seguir tomando en cuenta esa decisión difícil.
I know of a jurisdiction
Yo sé que la jurisdicción
where every time someone without lawful residency status gets charged with drunk driving,
que cada vez que una persona que está aquí de manera ilegal y enfrenta el cargo de conducir en estado de ebriedad,
they call the immigration service.
llaman a servicio de migración.
We don't do that.
No lo hacemos aquí.
But if they go to jail for long enough, they come to the attention of the immigration service.
Pero si una persona está encerrado en la cárcel suficiente tiempo, llama la atención de servicio de migración.
I don't want to have 100 young Mexican men arrested for drunk driving in 2026.
No quiero tener muchos casos de hombres jóvenes de México arrestados por el cargo de conducir en estado de ebriedad en el año 2026.
I have enough regular people with residency status that keep getting arrested for drunk driving.
Tengo personas suficientes o casos suficientes de personas con residencia aquí que son arrestados por conducir en estado de ebriedad.
Like the last man, Mr. Valancourt.
Como el último señor, el señor Valancourt.
As you said, this appears to be the first time that you've ever done anything like this.
Como usted dice, parece ser la primera vez que ha hecho algo parecido a esto.
According to the wisdom of the Michigan State Legislature,
según a la sabiduría de la legislatura del estado de Michigan,
drunk driving cases are not serious misdemeanors.
Casos de conducir en estado de ebriedad no son delitos menores graves.
And there is a presumption that I won't place the people in jail.
Hay una presunción que no voy a colocar a las personas en la cárcel.
Or put them on probation.
O colocarlos en un plazo de libertad condicional.
Unless, as in this case, there is an accident.
A menos que hay, como en este caso, hubo un choque.
Or other factors.
U otros factores.
Mr. Huff, having said all that, what's your position here?
Señor Huff, con todo eso dicho, ¿cuál es su postura aquí?
I was surprised that the police report didn't contain any investigation into the nature of the accident.
Me too.
Me sorprendió mucho que el informe de policía no se refería a no hacía referencia a ninguna parte de una investigación sobre el accidente.
In fact, I don't think I could even tell who the other people were.
De hecho, no creo que yo sepa quiénes fueron las otras personas.
But given his very high blood alcohol content,
pero dado el alto nivel de alcoholemia de él,
on a weekday,
en un día de entre semana,
and the fact that he says he felt fine to drive,
y el hecho de que dijo que se sintió perfectamente bien para poder conducir,
there was at least some concern that he abuses alcohol regularly.
hay un poco de inquietud que él abusa el alcohol con regularidad.
He works at Miller's in Orland, Indiana,
Él trabaja en Miller's en Howe, Indiana,
and does not have a valid license.
y no tiene una licencia de conducir vigente.
This is the case that typically I make a recommendation for probation.
En un caso así, típicamente hago una recomendación para un plazo de libertad condicional.
I did discuss my concerns about Jose's ability to get back and forth.
Sí, hablé con él sobre mi inquietud, sobre su capacidad para poder llegar de ida y vuelta,
In particular to drug and alcohol testing in Three Rivers.
sobre todo a las pruebas por drogas y alcohol en la ciudad de Three Rivers o Tres Ríos.
But he asked for a chance to at least try.
Pero él pidió la oportunidad para poder hacerlo,
Because he thinks that he can make it happen.
porque él cree que puede lograrlo.
There was a request for reimbursement to Sturgis Police Department.
Hay una petición para un reembolso al Departamento de Policía de Sturgis
In the amount of $255.
por el monto de $255.
And that's all I have to add.
Es todo lo que tengo para agregar.
I'm going to order a $300 fine,
Voy a ordenar multa 300,
$75 crime victims' rights fee,
$75 para víctimas de delitos,
a $50 state minimum fee,
costo 50 estatal mínimo,
a $100 screening fee,
$100 costo para la entrevista,
$150 attorney fee,
150 para los honorarios de abogado
and $255 reimbursement to Sturgis Police Department.
más $255 en reparación, Departamento de Policía de Sturgis.
$930 is the total.
El monto total $930.
Make that due by April 1st of 2026.
Tiene que pagarlo antes del 1 de abril de 2026.
Mr. Vasquez Bonifaz has a wife and 3 kids somewhere.
El señor Vázquez Bonifaz tiene una esposa y 3 niños en alguna parte.
He's here driving around drunk.
Y conduciendo en estado de ebriedad.
I'm aware this is money that isn't available for his family.
Y estoy consciente que ese dinero ya no irá a su familia.
This is not a non-serious misdemeanor because of the facts of the case, including the accident.
Eso no es un delito menor, no grave, debido a los hechos que aparecen en el caso, inclusive el choque.
But it is a first offense.
Pero sí es la primera vez.
I'm going to order 3 days jail, credit 1, leaving 2 days to serve.
Puede ordenar 3 días de cárcel, crédito para un día, le quedan 2 días más para pasar encerrado.
I'm not going to put the defendant on probation.
No voy a colocar al acusado en un plazo de libertad condicional.
I thought about doing it, but I stated some of my concerns.
Pensé hacerlo, pero ya he dicho algunas de las razones por las cuales no creo que sea buena idea.
He works far away and he doesn't have a car.
Él trabaja retirado y no tiene auto.
I don't want to set him up for failure.
No quiero encaminarlo al fracaso.
I'm going to have the probation department arrange the jail time.
Voy a pedir al Departamento de Libertad Condicional arregla los días o programa los días que tiene que pasar encerrado en la cárcel.
I don't want you to lose your job.
No quiero que usted pierda su trabajo.
Your Honor, while we have Ms. Montero, can we ask him if he could just do this weekend?
Can you do it this
Mientras la
weekend?
de la
Starting
línea,
Friday at 7 o'clock?
usted puede pasar encerrado este fin de semana que viene encarcelado empezando las 7 p.m. Your Honor, you said Friday at 7.
Is that yes or no?
He works Saturday.
¿Usted
All
dice
right, I
que sí o
don't,
que
the
no?
problem is gonna take us, we got interpreter problems at your end, but it's gonna take us 15 minutes to do this by an interpreter. 2 days was a gift.
2 días de cárcel fue un regalo.
I considered giving much more jail time.
Yo pensaba en poner mucho más días de cárcel.
So it should be taken as such.
Que debe de recibirlo como tal.
You go with your probation officer.
Puede acompañar el agente de libertad condicional.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. We do have a victim case we're gonna do next. We got behind. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Vivian.
You're
Thank you, Your
welcome.
Honor.
Have a good day, Your Honor.
We got 2 tough cases to go. We had, as I said, we got behind us. My apologies, Mr. Truckee, but we're gonna take up Devon Martin. If he's not ready, we can go to the other case. Well, this is another in a sequence of 4 difficult cases today. In this case, once again, Anthony Campfield is here and Autumn Kiefer had prepared this police or pre-sentence report. This is a bad case. File number is 251308FD. The defendant is here with his attorney, Paul Gibson. He originally got a ticket for reckless driving, failed to stop at assured clear distance, rear-ended another vehicle causing multiple rollover crash. Prosecutor filed a formal complaint in the matter, which I'm glad they did. Sometimes they miss these. But this was charged as a felony, operating while intoxicated, causing a serious injury, which is a felony punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment. The defendant was also charged with operating with a high blood alcohol level. The matter was set for a preliminary examination and a pre-exam conference because it is a felony. It was adjourned a couple of times, and then it resulted in a negotiated plea to the misdemeanor charge of operating with a high blood alcohol charge, with the indication they would be requesting restitution. And the felony charge was dismissed. The matter was set for sentencing today, and Ms. Kiefer drew the difficult task of doing the pre-sentence in this case. The defendant was 3 times the legal limit, and people were almost killed. Mr. Gibson, what would you like me to know?
The defendant is employed by St. Joseph County Transportation. He's got a good job. He's hopeful that he can maintain his employment. And so as far as I would ask the court to consider any jail to be deferred or to be allowed to be scheduled on the weekends so the defendant can keep his job. And so this was a very unfortunate incident, but this is the first time that the defendant's been in trouble. He has no criminal history. He's 25 years old. This was obviously a very bad accident, and the defendant himself was injured in the accident. And so he knows that this was a very dangerous and very, very serious situation. And he's very remorseful for the situation. And so I'm asking the court to consider a recommendation, following a recommendation of the probation department. Thank you.
Ms. Campfield, what's your thought here?
Your Honor, I have information, photographs for the court, as well as the restitution request from Ms. Shockley, the driver of the vehicle who was struck. She is present and would also like to address the court. The court can see from the photographs that Ms. Shockley did take photographs of the injuries that she suffered. They're all over her body, on her arm, on her hips, on her legs. She had quite a severe contusion on her head, which was originally why it was charged as a felony. When we spoke with the emergency room physician, determined that that was not quite the same as an interior brain injury, although I do believe she probably had some concussive symptoms. She did take quite a bit of time off from work, which is part of the request for restitution, in addition to a lot of the items that were damaged and were unrecoverable from the vehicle. The court can see from the vehicle, the black Prius was basically crushed front and back, because once struck, Ms. Shockley did indicate to me she was hit a second time by the defendant, who had also lost control of his vehicle. In the photographs, his vehicle is the red Jeep Cherokee. Probably both vehicles were a loss. I'm not sure about the defendant's, but I know hers was a loss. She's very lucky when I look at that Prius, as is the defendant, that she wasn't more severely injured or killed.
Well, there was a third car involved in this accident.
Correct.
That took off.
It did.
Which.
That was a car that once Ms. Shockley was struck by the defendant, she had sideswiped, I believe, that vehicle that was traveling next to her. One portion of the police report that I think really describes what happened is a witness by the name of Mr. Brady Slack, indicating that his father and he were in the turn lane to turn around on 131 to go toward Heimbach Road when they saw the red Jeep Grand Cherokee driven by the defendant approaching in the right lane, stating he was flying well over the speed limit. He was closing in on them at about 80 miles per hour, if not more. Brady stated that he watched the vehicle go all the way to the two vehicles ahead of him, which were close, if not side by side, stating that the red colored Jeep Grand Cherokee slammed into the vehicle on the right, being the black and colored Toyota Prius. There was no braking, no hesitation, no swerving, nothing from the red and color Jeep Grand Cherokee before striking the Prius. When that was struck, the little black vehicle was in the right lane, and the black vehicle then bumped into the other vehicle that was beside it. And then the vehicle in the left lane went off the roadway to the right into a ditch and then left the scene. After being struck by the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the black passenger car struck a guardrail, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee traveled farther south on down at US 131 before coming to a stop. I don't know how each of them came out of this without much more severe injuries. And frankly, the defendant's lucky that he only had a broken femur when you look at his vehicle as well. the blood alcohol level alone was a 0.24. For him to think that he was capable of driving at that level is beyond me. And with that tolerance and still being able to drive, granted, much to an inhibited degree, the defendant has a history of alcohol abuse because he would not be at that level and still on the roadway. So I think I agree with the recommendation of probation and all of the other things, except for deferred jail. Because of the severity of this incident, I think the defendant needs at least 60 days of jail, and that's probably a low recommendation, but I do recognize it's his first offense. We're just, again, very fortunate that nobody died in this accident. Especially when you look at the vehicles, both of them had to be extricated from within for their medical treatment.
Ms. Shockley, you'd like to speak to me? Autumn, could you trade spots with her? Good morning. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Michaela Shockley.
Could you spell that for me? I've got it here, but I want to spell it for the record.
Michael with an A, Michaela. And then Shockley, ShockleY.
All right. Thank you for being here. What would you like me to know?
So I have a statement that I wrote towards Mr. Martin. Over the past few months, I have thought and considered what I wanted to say to you if I ever saw you, and all I've come up with, was it worth it? By the reckless choice you made that night, you not only put your life, but multiple other lives in danger. You hit me at a ridiculous speed while I was in the right hand lane of the highway, and almost killed me. By the look of my car, I should be dead. How I walked away, I have no idea. You got lucky, and I can only hope that whatever happens today and whatever sentence you are given will teach you never to do this again. It was reckless, it was stupid, and you should have known better, because our entire lives we have been preached never to drive after drinking, and you chose to do so. I will never understand why people choose to drive intoxicated and risk lives. It's selfish, and I have no pity for people who have no care for the lives of others that they risk. You have no one you can blame but yourself, and I only hope your punishment is just and you never make this mistake again.
Let me ask you something. He claimed, and the person who's 3 times the legal limit is probably not in a position to have a lot of credibility to their story, that you slammed on your brakes, which caused this accident. Did you have any reason to slam on your brakes while you're simply driving down 131?
I was struck from behind.
And so you had not applied your brakes?
No. I was on my way home. I was in the right-hand lane, and I vaguely remember the black car behind me, because all I was thinking about was I had Applebee's at home for dinner. I just got off an 8-hour shift of working at a grocery store. I'm a manager.
What store?
Wagner's Matawan.
Well, that's a long drive.
And I drive it every day. And I was in the right-hand lane of the highway, maintaining my speed of about 63 miles an hour, I want to say. And I had no inclination or indication that I was going to be struck from behind, except for the illumination of his headlights in my cabin. And the next thing I knew is I was hit.
Here's the terse accident report language of this. It's called a UD-10 that the police officers do in an accident. And I would say the deputies here, Deputy Radke and others, did a good job in this case. And Unit 1, 2, and 3 were all traveling southbound on 131. Unit 1, which would be you, Mr. Martin, was traveling at a high rate of speed when it collided with the rear end of Unit 2. That would be Ms. Shockley's car. Unit 2 then struck Unit 3, which is the person that took off. Upon separation, Unit 2 veered left, striking the guardrail and overturned. Unit 2 rolled and came to a stop in the middle of US 131, facing in a northwest direction. Unit 1, that's you, after separating from Unit 2, overturned and rolled. Unit 2 came to a stop in the middle of the roadway, right into the ditch. Unit 3 drove, this the other guy, drove 100 yards south through the ditch before returning to the roadway. Unit 3, being a victim, left the scene. Witnesses stated that Unit 2 was traveling at 80 miles per hour plus when it collided with the back of Unit 2, which caused Unit 2 to strike Unit 3. He claimed Unit 2 slammed on their brake, causing him to strike Unit 2. Unit 2 said she didn't have time to hit her brake before she knew it. Her car broke as she was headed toward the guardrail. This is 131 after it has been rebuilt. There are guardrails all up and down there. There are no cross directions. The shoulders are wider. You can't cross it. You have to have Michigan left. You have to go north to go south. But we get a lot of accidents right here. I mentioned earlier our previous sheriff was involved in a 2-car rollover accident with a few miles from where this was. So you've got a lot of restitution in here, including the time you had to take off from work. Is that correct? And that was to take care of your medical issues?
I could hardly move.
Now, this was charged as a felony and it was reduced to a misdemeanor. Did anybody discuss that with you before that was done?
No.
Okay.
I was informed that he had pled guilty, and I was informed that there were 3 possible charges that he could have received. And honestly, I believe the felony one is the best suited one.
All right. Well, what I have is this. The felony case would have sentencing guidelines attached to it. This does not.
Your Honor, can I just add one thing?
Yes.
In going over the restitution with the defendant, he had questions for me and I hadn't had, I don't know if I had gotten sent that information. So I guess I would ask for the defendant to be able to reserve the right to have a hearing on the restitution. If I can have, once I have an opportunity to review the.
Well, I got it this morning, about somewhere when I was in the middle of my civil docket. The clerk sent it to me. All right, well, I'll consider that. Well, Ms. Shockley, has there been a lawsuit filed?
Not yet, or I don't know if my
Well,
dad.
did you made a claim with your insurance company?
Yes.
And did they pay your medical expenses and time off?
Yes.
All right. And your insurance company may end up suing his insurance company before it's all done, although this is a no-fault state. And as far as I can tell, he had valid insurance in place at the time. Mr. Martin, this is not characteristic for you. As indicated, you have no previous criminal record. However, you involved in 2 previous traffic crashes. One January of the previous year, and I don't remember what the other one was. So you're a mechanic. I think you have a CDL. You work for the county transportation department, and you almost killed yourself and several other people. So what would you like me to know?
I don't have anything to say, Your Honor.
You don't have anything to say?
I mean, I made a mistake. I know I did. I think her speech was about perfect.
All right, thank you. Ms. Shockley, who are you to Bruce Shockley?
Not related.
Okay.
The closest thing I've got is my deceased grandfather, Robert Bruce.
He is a local musician and music teacher and plays in several bands and gave guitar instructions to my kids. I didn't know if you were related to
It
him.
could possibly be.
He's a good guy, so wouldn't be a bad guy to be related to, but apparently you're a different Shockley family. All right, you can have a seat. All right, Autumn. As I said, you drew this short straw. And the defendant is employed. He's going to keep his employment, presumably. If I put him in jail for 60 days as requested, he's going to lose his employment. This was a felony, reduced to a misdemeanor. However, it's a serious one. There's no perfect answer, but your recommendation is probation and some jail time, much of it deferred and some on weekends. What else would you like us to know?
Well, he was upfront and honest with me, at least from what I could tell, that he does drink alcohol on a regular basis. More than likely, my guess is we're dealing with a small alcohol issue. It was a serious incident. He told me several times that he was sorry for the incident.
But
However,
he didn't tell Miss Shockley he was sorry. He had a chance to, and he had nothing to say. So
however, he did continue to question why the other vehicle in front of him slammed on brakes. So I'm not so sure he truly remembers the entire incident in its totality. So we may be dealing with a substance abuse issue that needs to be addressed, and probation will do that. He claims to me that his employer is fully aware of this incident, knows that he does not have a driver's license for the next year, and they have told him that they will maintain his employment, which, as I told him, he's pretty lucky, since my guess is, being a mechanic, he'd have to drive the vans that he's fixing. But he needs a probation. He needs a huge timeout. He needs a substance abuse assessment, and I do think there should be jail ordered on weekends.
I'm
Only to
gonna do it.
maintain employment if he's gonna have to pay back restitution.
I agree. I'm going to do a 24-month probation, 30 days jail. Credit 0 because of his accident. He went to the hospital himself, leaving 30 days to serve. We're going to do him on weekends. If I give him 30 days, he's going to lose his job. He isn't going to be able to pay any restitution. But you can't use any drugs or any alcohol. When did you have your last drink?
The night of the accident.
All right, that's a good answer. That's the right answer. No drugs and no alcohol. This is prescribed, including marijuana. There's a $300 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $100 screening fee, an attorney fee of $150, probation oversight fee of $940, $960. Police reimbursement. I thought I saw one in there. Do you have it, Miss Campfield?
One moment, please, Your Honor. I've got to get out of.
Scary thought I had is the other driver that took off. Who does that? Somebody that's drunk. Yep. More than once have I had two drunk drivers hit each other and kill each other. But that's my suspicion.
Your Honor, I don't see a reimbursement request.
I didn't think there
It was
one.
the sheriff's department. And I know at my request, obtained under a prosecutor's letter, the defendant's medical records, which would be also inclusive of the toxicology, which gave us the blood alcohol level, so they did not independently have to do a blood test.
One thing we didn't get was the black box information out of either car. This had been a death. It would have been nice to have it. It was charged as a felony. I'd be really interested in how fast he actually was going. And the defendant's, the other driver's car would have told whether she had applied the brakes or not. That would have been important to know had there been a trial. It would have been important to know anyway, but apparently if they got it, I didn't get it. But that black box is I didn't have it through most of my prosecutor career.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I applied the brakes after I was struck to try to gain control of the car.
Okay. That's what you said. And I said, a person who's 3 times the legal limit probably isn't the best judge of what actually happened. But that would have told us how fast he was going, how fast you were going. Probably nobody just thought of it. This happened in July. There would have been time to get it, but it wasn't done. Let's add all that up.
Your Honor, is there a fee for the victim impact panel?
$32.
$32.
Thank you, Judge.
And I'm going to do a $200 police reimbursement. All right, fine 300, 125, screening fee 100, 150 attorney fee, 960. Probation oversight fee $200. Police reimbursement and a $32 victim impact panel 1867. The defendant posted a $5,000 PR bond, so there's no bond. Ms. Shockley, you might be a great speaker for the victim impact panel as to what a drunk driver did to you by colliding with you. I'd ask maybe the victim unit and the prosecutor to keep that in mind. That's the kind of thing that has impact on people. I'm going to reserve on the restitution because there's issues regarding insurance, potential lawsuit. The defendant indicated she was reimbursed from her time off from an insurance company. I can always amend things while I'm under probation. Well, if we'd started on time, we might have been finished on time, but Mr. Martin, it wouldn't have been a hard decision to just give you 60 days in jail and then you'd go on with your life. You'd lose your job. You wouldn't be able to pay the restitution, but I'm on a probation. It's good that you haven't had anything to drink since this evening. 0.24, Ms. Campfield said the defendant has a history of alcohol abuse. Well, you don't have any previous convictions, but you have to build a tolerance up to get to 2.4, particularly on beer. That's a lot of beer. People drinking hard liquor, vodka or tequila or spirits have an easier time getting their blood to that level, but that's a lot of beer, which means you've had practice to get that high. Most people can't get to a 0.24. They get sick or pass out before that. So you have to build a tolerance. So I think you're aware of that, but now, all right, you go with Ms. Kiefer. Autumn, we're going to try to get more information about the restitution, whether there's insurance was applied to some of it or what the status is, but we'll add some restitution to this. He's got at least a year, potentially 2 to pay it all if we need to.
Your Honor, if I may just get some clarification from the court.
Let me have that.
Are the weekends of jail to start this weekend?
I hadn't decided. I'll leave that to the probation bar. There's no reason why they couldn't.
And then with respect to the restitution, do you want things submitted to this Kiefer within a certain time period?
Yes, I'd ask
Schedule
within the next 60
hearing?
days. If we need to have a hearing, we can always schedule one.
You want just clarification on what the insurance has paid versus what has not been covered?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have one more to go. And this isn't much easier either. Angelo and Sucion Alvarado. Would you come forward, please? Good morning. Are you Angelo Alvarado?
Yes, we are.
All right. I met you at the time of your arraignment. I'm Judge Middleton. I'm glad you were here. We had a touch and go as to whether you were going to be here this morning, but the matter was set for today and you're here and pleases me.
Yeah, I didn't want to create any more.
All right, good. Well, this is the time and date for sentencing in this matter, which is file 251468SD. You're from Saginaw. You were here working on a project at Westside Landfill, and you got arrested in the middle of the intersection at 131 and Broadway, I believe. We get a lot of stuff with this other accident. It was a few miles up the road on 131. Unfortunately, nobody was killed, or your case either. Mr. Truckee, I know you've been all over this case. We discussed it a couple times last week, getting ready for today, just in terms of scheduling it. But what would you like me to know?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Alvarado, he's a full-time worker and a full-time father. He's got a 4-year-old and a 4-month-old at home. And if you do the math, a 4-month-old means he had a 9 months pregnant girl in his home at the time of this offense. And that, I think this is kind of the grab you by the shirt collar and shake you sober moment for Mr. Alvarado. He's not reported to me that he's been a consistent drinker or has a significant drinking problem, but he has been a construction worker who works on the road with a crew of guys. And my father did that. And I kind of learned a little bit about that industry. And unfortunately, oftentimes it's accompanied by going out after you get done because your family's 4 hours away and lo and behold, your brother's here on the crew with you and he's celebrating his birthday. And you go to Sam's and you have 10 beers and you go back to the hotel. And because you've had 10 beers, you make a stupid decision to go back to Sam's. Some might argue it's a stupid decision to go there in the first place, but I kind of like Rosie. But the point is, this was a series of foolish macho decisions to go out, drink too much, carry on while you're on the road working with your brother and your crew. And you see from the PBTs, it's in that 0.14 to 0.17 with a range. There's a couple of them given. And Mr. Alvarado does fall asleep at an intersection, as does his passenger, which is kind of strange to me. But they fall asleep in the warm car, I suppose, or the cool car, being it was August. And that kind of starts to tell me that this isn't a huge habit of his because he's a 0.17 and he's passing out. Thankfully, no one was injured. Thankfully, the 2 children at home still have a father. Thankfully, he still maintains his employment with the same company. I think the boss man would have been well within his rights to say, get out of here. You got arrested while we're working on the road And now what? I gotta bail you out. I gotta put you to work. You're gonna be a terrible worker the next day because you're hungover and tired. But the company stuck with Mr. Alvarado. Mr. Alvarado stuck with the company. The recommendation in this case is for some scheduled jail, deferred jail, and probation. We would ask that the court consider Mr. Alvarado's employment situation, his lack of a significant drinking problem, in determining the sentence. He living in Saginaw and traveling about 30% of the time he's out of state for work. So I do see there being some issues with serving a probation. Also, this is his first criminal offense, and he's age 27. He, again, grew up in Saginaw, lived there his whole life. And so making it, not that it's some achievement to make it to 27 without a criminal record, but it is something the court should consider as well. So for those reasons, we're asking that the court consider a time served sentence with fines and costs as appropriate, in lieu of the jail and probation as recommended. The other thing I would note is that, again, Mr. Alvarado works regularly, works hard at what he does, and not to make excuses, but we recognize he missed the screening. He was able to catch up with that. I don't think that Mr. Alvarado's attitude is as reflected in the report. I think there may have been some just miscommunication with that, and I think he'd have a statement today to that effect. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alvarado, I'll let you go next. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I was sorry for failing my probation interview. I had just woken up, so emotions could be a little low at that time, but I was just trying to be honest.
Well, the impression that he got was you weren't taking this very seriously. But I'm very pleased that you're here. You were supposed to start work in South Carolina today, so this affects your employment. But anyway, we can proceed. This is, as far as I could tell, your first criminal offense. As he said, it would have been a damn shame if your daughter was born and never knew her dad. Ms. Camfield, what would you like me to know?
Your Honor, I'm just reflecting on the defendant's driving record. He does have a chauffeur's license, or at least did prior to this incident happening, but he has been in another accident, and he has also had a speeding citation, as well as disregarding a traffic control device, which I would only presume is running a red light. So he isn't being careful on the road. That's indicative by this drinking and driving incident, and the fact that he was passed out, and then when speaking with Mr. Frazine was not taking the matter seriously and said that, hey, had the light been green, he would have gotten home without being caught, or at least back to the hotel. It doesn't seem to be somebody that's taking it very seriously. Well, you may tell the court that today because he's here for sentencing, but this is, I mean, he says he doesn't drink very much, and this was out of character for him. But again, we have somebody who's at a 0.17 and still operating a vehicle, admitted to 10 Modelo beers the first time he was at the bar, and then he went back and had more.
Which,
so
I think is, we get so many. The one guy that told us he had 3 drinks and he was a 0.12. I think this guy's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
He had 10 beers, and then he had 10 more. I don't know. And he got to a 0.167.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's being honest. We tend to get desensitized to how much alcohol it takes to actually get your blood alcohol this high.
Yeah. I think another concern that I noted in the report was that he says he usually drinks with the guys 5 to 6 beers on average. So I'm wondering if they're going out and having that much at night after work, how many times he's been above the legal limit driving back to the hotel or the work site or wherever he's staying. It's concerning to me.
Well, I can't speculate as to that, but let me say this, Mr. Alvarado. I tried to count one time how many drunk driving cases I've handled. I don't know. I was in the prosecutor's office for 23 years, and this is my 24th year here. So that's 47 by the time I'm done. I'm thinking it's over 20,000. Probably at least 100 of them are you a construction guy out here, maybe more than 100. I've had lots of these. They're out here working on a project, they're working on a highway crew, they're painting the Walmart, they're working on a project at West Side Landfill. They stay at the hotels on the west side of Three Rivers. Applebee's is over there. I've had dozens of cases just like this. And the construction culture was you'd work hard all day, you'd go out with the guys after work, have beers, get up and do it all over again the next day. Now, this day was a little different because it was your brother's birthday.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out how you got where you were. You were staying at the hotel on 131 and you went to Sam's Bar, which is south of Three Rivers on Lutz Road, becomes South Main, turns into Lutz Road. And somehow you're eastbound on Broadway and 131. Now, what's over there is Applebee's. Had you been at Applebee's?
No, Your Honor.
How did you get on the other side of 131 coming back toward the hotel?
So when we left the first time, we found Sam's and we went there, celebrated my brother's birthday. And then after that, we went back to the hotel. All the other guys were ready to stay in and continue to drink there. But me and another friend decided we were going to go back to Sam's. So then we went back to Sam's. And then after that, I was on my way back to the hotel.
All right, but so the guy in the car was not your brother?
No, he was a coworker.
All right.
Slash friend.
But where you were isn't on the way back from Sam's.
Broadway and 131, Your Honor?
Yeah. He's eastbound on Broadway in the middle of the intersection.
It was westbound, that would be more sense.
Yes.
With me being under the influence, I'm sure I probably.
Yeah, you might have taken some wrong turns here and there. Well, maybe that explains it.
But I also want to say with my past, driving experiences, if you see they're within years of each other. So I'm not abusive. I never had the intentions of being abusive with my driving.
I'll accept that.
If I seem a little careless, it's just because I'm a man that takes, full responsibility in his actions.
What did you tell your wife?
I told her the truth too. And obviously, was in the doghouse.
The other factor here is 131. I've pontificated on this on a number of occasions. You're not from here, you're from Saginaw.
Yes,
that particular stretch of 131, and you heard about one farther up the road. If we go from the big hill in Constantine, which is about 2 miles south of where you were, to where the other one, there have probably been 100 fatal accidents in that strip. There have been a dozen or more fatal accidents, maybe 25 at the intersection you were in. Even before Myers and Walmart were built. My memory goes back a long ways. So as I mentioned earlier, they reconstructed 131 to make it safer. But it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're in the middle of the damn intersection with your friend passed out. That's scary. But
If I will say, I was at the light. I wasn't in the middle of the intersection. I was at the light.
all right, maybe so. I'm going to look at what the report said.
Your Honor, the
Stopped at the intersection. Yes.
And it indicated that he had his foot on the brake, and when they were able to shake him awake.
Yeah, the car started to move and he had to put his foot down. And so, yeah, he was at the intersection. And this happens too, all the time. People pass out at a stop sign. They pass out in the drive-through at McDonald's. They're waiting for their food. They fall asleep in the drive-through lane. And you're right. You were about 300 yards from making it home safe.
I'm sure if that, I'm not trying to make any excuses now.
But
I'm sure if
maybe
that light wasn't
lucky you
red.
didn't, because you would have done it again as opposed to this, which is a big wake-up call. All right, Daniel, I'll give you the last word.
Well, when I first read this, I was thinking about that. I think it was that very accident where someone, it wasn't even alcohol involved, but someone got rear-ended and got killed, and they were on a caseload about 3 years ago. I think it was rolling it back, hit someone and killed them. I read that accident, and had his foot come off, I was passed out. I mean, it's 1:31. Luckily, it's 3 a.m, but easily could have been a fatality. Speaking of someone who worked in on-the-road construction for 6 years, I can easily see how this kind of stuff happens. I've seen a lot of guys fall prey to this. Luckily, I was a little bit older, maybe wiser through some harder times. You were lucky that you didn't kill someone. You can see that the alcohol level is actually going up. So I don't know what he would have been. It was 6.7, and it was off by more than 0.3, so I had to do a third chem test, and it was a 1.71. So I don't think we really saw how drunk he really was at this point. Because he lives out of town, because of his road, I was kind of going back and forth whether just to do a jail sanction and let him go on his merry way. And I think it did sit in with him. I think some of it registered in him with him. I think he made some comments I didn't much care for. I thought they kind of made it light, like, oh, I was almost there, or, hey, at least it wasn't a serious accident, or, I don't have any criminal history. But I think that was maybe just him and being honest. Looking back at this, I generally put everybody on probation. I think drunk driving is serious and at its face, regardless of what the legislators say. So I tend to think most people deserve a probation, and I like to think that they make better choices once they get some education while on probation. I leave it up to the court, but I did recommend, because of the high BAC and the fact that this very easily could have been a fatality, and the decision to go back to the bar afterwards, I believe that there was a good sanction to be a 2 days consecutive to really hit it home, and 12-month probation, and the typical drunk driving stuff and monitoring, Your Honor.
Again, this would be presumed to be a non-serious misdemeanor. That sticks in my craw, but that's what the law says. This would be very difficult for him to do a probation because he works all over the country. He lives in Saginaw. And so I'm not going to do one. I'm going to sentence 3 days jail, credit 1, leaving 2 days to serve. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to schedule it?
If I can schedule it, Your Honor, because I'm the sole provider of my family. And after I leave here today, I will be on the road and on the clock collecting mileage.
All right, till when?
Till the 14th. So if I could do it that week.
All right, we'll have the probation department schedule that with you. There's a $300 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $100 screening fee, $150 attorney fee. I think there was a police reimbursement on this
I
one.
had 120.
There's a 120 police reimbursement. That's correct.
I'm not going to do the victim impact ban. He doesn't live here. We'll let him 300 plus 125 plus 100 plus 150 plus 120, 795.
Your Honor, am I able to make a payment on that
Yes,
today?
yep. Do a payment plan, Matt, or he can talk to you about this. This was reduced to impaired driving. So that's another factor. It will allow you to keep a restricted driver's license. We had 4 drunk driving cases today. One was a terrible rear end traffic crash on 131. Another was some foolish person going 88 miles an hour up 131 from the other direction with a prior offense. Another guy was in a traffic crash in Sturgis with no lawful license, very high blood alcohol level. I don't know. Things are getting worse, or it just appears that way. The crimes get worse and the sentences get less. All right, you go with, Mr. Frazine and he'll get you started on.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Alvarado, I'm glad you were here. You got a weekend in jail to do, but it'd be a lot better than a bench warrant with no bond. So you took it seriously at the end. And this is a cautionary tale for a next work assignment you're at. You're good to go.
Appreciate it, Your Honor. Have a good day.
Your Honor, is the court retaining the exhibits on Martin?
The file already went out. I
Okay,
could
that's
give-
fine.
I
don't
think
need
they were scanned in. I got it this morning, but if you want it back,
Oh, I don't need them.
okay.
It's okay.
Yes, they are part of the file.
Thank you.
All right, another short lunch. But that happens sometimes on Mondays. We'll be in recess.